Am I the asshole for ignoring my nephew after he stole an important $50 bill from me? There's a story behind that bill and it mattered a lot to me. My best friend Henry and I knew each other since we were in middle school. In high school we were pretty adamant about being child-free and swore we'd never have kids. We decided to make a little bet though. First guy to have a kid owed the other $50. It was a dumb bet that didn't really take seriously and I completely forgot about until 9 years later. I was with Henry at a diner once for lunch and he slips me a $50 bill. It took me a minute, but when it clicked I was so ecstatic. Still one of my fondest memories with him. Two grown men hugging it out at a diner in tears after giving me the news that he's going to be a dad for the first time. His daughter was born after that. I was honored to be her godfather. Then unfortunately we lost him all too soon when his little girl was 5. It's been 3 years since then and I still miss him. We were like brothers and I kept that bill as a memento. I see my goddaughter all the time, so the bill is also a reminder of the first time I learned of her existence. Kept it in a small box with other sentimental things of mine on top of a dresser in my room. My sister is staying with my wife and I along with my 16-year-old nephew. They all know about this story, by the way. I've told them before many times. A few days ago I noticed the box was in a different stop than where I left it, and that's when I discovered that the bills was gone. He eventually confessed what he did because I was frantically looking for it all over the place. My nephew needed the money because he wanted to take his girlfriend out to eat. But my sister wouldn't give him any cash since he spent all his allowance money. Honestly, I was so furious and had asked him how could he do that, knowing that it was one of the few things I have of my best friend and he stole it. My nephew kept apologizing, but I couldn't look at him. My emotions were a little too strong and I just wanted to get away from him before I started yelling. My sister offered to pay me back, but she damn well knows that's not the same. However, she is saying I'm being too hard on him because I've been ignoring him the last couple of days and he's feeling ashamed enough. She's apologized on his behalf but does think I'm taking it too far. Right now it's still all fresh for me. That bill was important to me because of the memory it holds. Now it's lost and I'll never get it back. I'm not at a place where I want to talk to him yet, but my sister feels I'm being somewhat of an ass by punishing him like this as he's already learned his lesson. I'd just like to know if I am not the asshole. I doubt there will ever be anything this boy can do to mend the pain he has caused, and as sad as that is, he is 16 and needs to take accountability for his selfishness. His mother really needs to look at herself because she raised a child who decided, knowing the context, that his actions would be acceptable. Truly horrible situation, and I am so very sorry for you. I would recommend you go to the place they ate to see if the owner still has it, as generally places only do banking once a week, so you may get lucky. Not the asshole, I mean, at a bare minimum, he stole your money. More than that, he stole an important memento he knew about. At 16 I can't help but think it was calculated. He's not sorry he did it, he's just sorry he got caught. Not the asshole, you are not punishing him, you are having strong emotions for a very good reason. They should be able to wait for as long as you need, and I hope nephew has seriously tried finding that specific bill to give it back to you. Don't put your feelings aside just because your nephew is ashamed and hurt. Not this time. And if your sister, nephew and whoever else cannot understand that you need space and time, then they don't have to. They just need to give you back the little respect your nephew didn't have when he did that. I read yesterday how somebody lost some photos of their dead daughter and a user commented how it probably felt as if they lost their daughter for a second time. You're grieving for a second time. Not the asshole, I'm livid for you. I'm also the kind of person who would hold a grudge for something like that. I'd cut them out from my life, blood or not, so as far as I'm concerned, you are being pretty nice about it. Not the asshole, he stole something precious from you and you are grieving. Your sister wanting to protect him from the consequences of his own actions is likely the same sort of parenting that caused him to think doing this would be okay. Let him truly feel the weight of seeing that he hurt you. Let yourself grieve and fully feel. He will learn, and eventually you may come to a place you forgive. Though forgiveness is a process and something that comes after we feel a lot of other emotions, fully. Not the asshole, and they're lucky not to be homeless emo. Not the asshole, your sister is excusing him stealing from the people who are taking them in. They need to go. If she reinforces that it is okay, what will he steal the next time you don't spend time with him? Not the asshole. He's 16 yo, and he knew exactly what he was doing. Communication is better though, and explaining exactly why you are furious will be of benefit. Not the asshole. He hasn't even apologized, he blamed your sister for not giving him more money. Not the asshole. The kid literally stole from you, and an important memory nonetheless. Oh, he needed to take his girlfriend out to eat but spent his allowance beforehand. Boo-hoo, should have thought of that before spending it. Not the asshole, and for several reasons. 1. The little guy blatantly stole from you. 2. He's shirking responsibility, instead blaming his mother for not giving him enough when he can't control his own spending or set aside some for a rainy day. 3. He not only stole your cash, he stole a precious memory of yours. He's forcing you to relive all the pain. 4. It was an extremely selfish reason. If he can't control his spending, he doesn't deserve a lover. I imagine his girlfriend would be appalled at his actions and would break up with him if she found out. 5. Your sister is attempting to shield him from the consequences of his actions. In other words, she's raising a pussy who won't be able to survive in society. Kick him out. Stealing money is illegal. He's 16, SHLD know that. And for his girl? Nope. I'm going with not the asshole and kick him. I'm gonna say not the asshole for not talking to him. In my estimation, however, you are the asshole for not levying serious consequences on the brat and his mother. In a similar situation, except it was a $2,500+ guitar the kid stole, I kicked them out of the house with 3 days' notice. Not the asshole. He stole something precious and you have every right to be heartbroken over it. Weird question, but do you know the serial number of the note? If you do, I'd let him know and tell him to track it down. It might teach him a lesson to have to go to shops and banks and explain what he did. Not the asshole. He's already learned his lesson. How? What has he learned? It seems to me that given the magnitude of what he did, it's been pretty much consequence-free for him. I say, kick him and his mother out of your house. Maybe then he will have learned his lesson. Oh, and while you're at it, make sure his girlfriend knows that he took her out with stolen funds. Nothing beats full transparency. Not the asshole, he did something 100% unforgivable, he knew what that bill meant to you. He's straight up evil, and even now he doesn't care, and it's BC of your sister's shitty parenting. You don't need to forgive him if you don't want to. I would kick them out if it was me, he will keep stealing your shit. Not the asshole. I'm sure you will forgive him eventually, but they both need to understand that some hurts aren't easy to get over. This is justifiably one. It's not fair that your sister is trying to dictate how you feel about this. Tell her she's only making it worse, and that you need space and time to deal with it. You can say the same to your nephew, he's old enough to understand. At the end of the day, there's no fixing what he did. They don't get to decide how you come to terms with that. Also, I am sorry. That whole story is heartbreaking. Not the asshole, what an awful brat. Wow. Makes you wonder what other items he swiped before. Not the asshole. If this happened today, is it possible to visit the restaurant and ask to exchange the bill? I'm sure not many people would pay with 50s and you might be able to track down the right one. Edit. I realized that it's not today. But it still might be possible depending on the restaurant's deposit schedule. Look at the bright side, your nephew is now a living memento on why you and your friend wanted to be child-free. Not the asshole op, it would have been bad enough if just your money had been stolen, but as a keepsake of a dead friend that bill was irreplaceable. Stay mad at your nephew as long as you want. You are not taking it far enough, emo. If it was me, I would demand his mother punish him instead of defending theft. $50 is not nothing. She enables him. NTA. In the morning, take them out with the rest of the garbage. Not the asshole. People too often assume that, I'm sorry, can fix anything. And when we're young, that's true, but as we get older our actions have more power and the consequences of those actions cannot be fixed by expressing regret. I'm so sorry. It must hurt like a motherfucker to have lost that memento of your best friend. You're not the asshole, as it's understandable why you'd have that reaction. It sounds like he hasn't even apologized himself yet, so for starters that needs to happen. It doesn't sound like he's learned his lesson if he hasn't even been bold enough to come and apologize to you. He's a liar and a thief who didn't admit responsibility until he had to. Not the asshole. Tell your sister that this whole situation has changed your view on your nephew. Even if, when you do forgive him, you still don't like him because of his actions. If you are feeling petty, take a different niece or nephew out for an adventure and make a joke they are the only ones getting an inheritance. Someone needs to teach these two consequences. Not the asshole. They need to go. If he stole something that means that much to you and he knew it, then that is not the first thing he has stolen from you or your wife. Tell your sister you understand her situation. She needs to find other arrangements for her and her son. Not the asshole. Taking $50 is already an insane amount to just take from someone, let alone a $50 bill that has sentimental value. Your nephew is 16 years old. He's almost an adult and should have known better. Let's be real, teens do stupid things without thinking, but that is far from an excuse for doing it. He's almost an adult and can be treated like one. He needs to learn the consequences of his actions. Not the asshole. Why is your sister condoning stealing? Because that is what this is. If she keeps covering for him, she's going to have a lot of issues coming up, and none of these will be yours to deal with. I understand that there are sentimental attachments to that money, but please address the elephant on the room. Your nephew is a thief. Not the asshole. While I respect that nephew has had the balls to apologize, sorry doesn't cut it here. He literally stole from you, and the sentimentality of that particular bill is irreplaceable. His mum, however, is an asshole for puahing forgiveness. A little bit of silent treatment to really impress the seriousness of this won't hurt him. It will make him feel like shit, and hopefully encourage changed behavior moving forward. You are totally in the right. Not the asshole, but instead of chasing the bill, why not honor your friend by having a weekly lunch at the place where he slipped you the bill? This could be your new tradition to keep his memory alive, hopefully. Or us a new $50 bill to start a little fund for his daughter? I am so sorry you lost your friend. Your sister is in no position to tell you how you should and shouldn't feel and what you should and shouldn't have said. I hope she'll realize to leave you alone and that making excuses for her son will only make it worse. Not the asshole. He deserves it and he knew what he was doing. Your sister is trying to foist off her parenting duties on you, too. He should be in the doghouse for stealing first of all, and for stealing that next. I would actually think about asking them to leave. Also, I am so sorry about your best friend, and about this new and irreparable hurt. You deserve better. ETA. It just occurred to me. What if he stole your wedding ring and sold that to make money? That is also an object marking an important memory for you, as is not? How is this different? The only thing I can think of is that your wife is still alive, and your friend is not, so you can at least make more memories with your wife but never with your friend, who only lives on in these small objects and in your mind. I'm furious for you. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. What punishment are you talking about? That is what I hate about 1950s to now. People seem to think a few meaningless words amounts to being sorry and as a punishment. He should be grounded for at least a month or two. You're not punishing him, as you physically can't look at him because of your emotional state. If you can afford it, you should speak with a therapist, as the $50 bill was a lifeline to a friend you lost. With it gone, the full weight of his passing is hitting you, as on many levels it totally sunk in that your friend is gone. Not the asshole. Good, let him feel ashamed. He did not need to take his girlfriend out to eat. Not the asshole, he only apologized. He didn't actually even try to make up for it, and honestly he can't. He is young, but he has to learn those consequences. His mother shouldn't be just easily sweeping it under the rug. That's just insensitive of her. Not the asshole. I'm so sorry for your loss. Just reading this made me tear up. Take your time dealing with your emotions. Your nephew needs to know what a horrible thing he did. Not the asshole. Your nephew has no empathy. He stole from you, equating your memorabilia as an emergency 50. And it wasn't an emergency, it was a date, and he didn't even need all of it. Let your nephew feel shame. It's all that separates him from being a sociopath. Not the asshole. This isn't about him learning his lesson. This is about her being a shitty parent and him being a shitty kid and him doing something that cannot be remedied. Hey, feelings do not matter because she raised a shitty son. His feelings don't matter because he stole. She has no right to complain because her son abused your hospitality and love from you. And she is abusing your hospitality by demanding you forgive, so her precious thief son doesn't feel bad about being a thief and an ungrateful guest. Kick them out. Your sister has no respect for you, and this is guaranteed to happen again. Not the asshole. I wouldn't have to actively ignore him because I would have told sister and the thief to leave immediately. I would refer to him as the thief ever after and never use his name again. Not the asshole. Her teenager stole money from you because he was too careless to save his own money. Adding the fact that it's a sentimental bill makes it even more gross. Not the asshole. She is just enabling him. It's not a simple sorry event. If I'd done that I'd have been grounded and had to pay it back somehow. Basically your sister needs to discipline the little street. However, she is saying I'm being too hard on him because I've been ignoring him the last couple of days. This is why we have so many entitled and rotten kids out there. Parents do not want to hold their kids accountable for anything, no matter what horrible thing they do. This kid did something unforgivable for a stupid reason and she's defending him. I honestly wouldn't let either of them in my home for the foreseeable future. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. I think your sister needs to take more responsibility for this. There is an underlying narrative here where her son felt okay stealing from you and then she feels like she has the right to tell you when you can stop being upset. Not the asshole sounds like you are ignoring him because you don't want to rage at him. He and your sister needs to give you some space to cool down. Your nephew ripped open an old wound. Now you need some time to clean and dress it in peace. NTA from your sister behavior. I think there is no doubt your nephew act that way. He stole something precious and has very sentimental value and he is 16. In some country age 16 is the age of consent. I advise to call the police on him. He must take accountability for his actions even it's destroy his life. Not the asshole. I would keep my distance, hold my tongue until I was certain I could have a conversation without losing it on the nephew. He is still your nephew and you run the risk of saying something in the heat of the moment that you cannot take back. And #X200B. Everyone knew the significance behind it. It doesn't matter how many times they apologize, it is done and cannot be undone. 16Y0 is about to learn a tough life lesson. Do not let them dictate how you are supposed to feel. Your space was violated by breaking into your room, box, stolen from, and then lied to. Now you are being pressured into forgiving him? Yeah, no. That has to happen on your timeline, not theirs. Not the asshole. What he did was extremely self-centered and cruel. It's just an item and I hope you can get over it and forgive your nephew eventually. But there is nothing wrong in taking your time to get over the loss of the bill.